Hey there. We're going to do some tapping today on being scammed, being hacked, being taken advantage of. In this crazy world that we're living in today, I really don't think I can find anyone who hasn't been attempted to be scammed or hacked or been violated by people who do scam or hack. And I've worked with this with a lot of my clients and I've had my own personal experiences. In fact, just yesterday, I was scammed when I thought I was speaking to the customer service department of somewhere and I was not. And it brought up a lot of feelings for me. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to combine kind of some of the genuine things that I'm feeling with things that I know generally people feel, having worked with a lot of people on this very vulnerable topic that feels just so violating and overstepping and personal. And we're going to do a tapping round to resolve some of these feelings. And I'm going to share some deeper connections as well when we're done. So, if you have been the victim of being scammed, hacked, having your identity stolen, whatever the case may be, I want you to think about that incident. I want you to bring it top of mind, and I want you to rate the intensity of it. 0 being not intense at all, in which case, find something else to focus on because you don't need to do this round, or 10 being it was really traumatizing. It really affected you. It's quite the bothersome memory, and you get upset thinking about it. And write down your number. I'm going to start this tapping round. It's going to be off the cuff, just kind of doing this from the heart and from my knowing of these situations. And sometimes when I do rounds like this, the biggest comment or complaint that I get is that I go too fast. If I were to do this round and slow down and say, okay, now move to this point and then give you a line, I lose the train of thought and the channeling that I'm doing to create something really strong, powerful, and effective for you. So my best tip is that if you feel I'm going too fast and you need time to say back the statement, because that's the best way you can do this. I'm going to tap a spot, say a line. Then I'm going to move and tap a spot and say another line. Because I'm doing this without a partner, that's going to move a little fast. So I suggest that if you're watching this on your phone or your computer, just have a hand right by the pause button so that you can either tap the screen, tap the pause button, tap the part of your body and say the line, and then unpause and continue. That's going to be your best bet. The other thing that you can do would be to go to the settings where you're watching the video and change the playback speed. That can be really effective as well. So those are my 2 tips. Let's get started. Also, if you have kids around, this round is going to have language in it. So do as you feel appropriate there. But I feel like when we feel betrayed and taken advantage of, an F-bomb here or there can be really healing and helpful for energetic releases. So you may agree, you may disagree. As always, when you repeat the statements back and knowing that everyone's had a different situation, so I'm going to throw some specific ideas out that may or may not relate to things that you've been through. You can change those lines to match the experience that you have had. You don't need to, say you felt silly for being coerced into buying a gift card or something like that if that wasn't your experience of being scammed, hacked, having your identity stolen or whatever. So just know I'm going to be kind of planting some seeds to hopefully relate to things that generally some people have been through, but that may not be your experience. That's where working with me one-on-one comes in helpful. Then I can relate to your personal experience. But for here, I'm going to generalize a little bit. You're going to tailor it for what your experience was. Okay? So again, bringing top of mind that feeling that you have when you think of the incident that happened to you, rating it and writing down your rating. We're going to start by tapping on the side of the hand. And I'm probably going to stick to the word scammed. You can change it to hacked, identity stolen, deceived, whatever it is that relates for you. Just interchange here, okay? Even though I feel so stupid that I got scammed, I want to love and accept myself. even though I feel violated, embarrassed, and ashamed, I really didn't think this could or would happen to me. I love, accept, and forgive myself. Even though it feels so violating, it makes me feel really vulnerable. And I know it's not my fault, but it really feels like my fault right now. Because I feel silly that I allowed myself to be that vulnerable and that I fell for the bait. I love, accept, and forgive myself. It's really traumatizing to be scammed. I don't like it when I can't trust people. Or when I think I'm finally getting help that I was looking for, and instead someone's trying to take my money, take my identity, take things I've worked hard for to create, and ruin it all in an instant. And it creates so much hassle. All the password changes and phone calls. It makes me so frustrated. I feel really stupid. I feel like there's something I should have been able to do to prevent this from happening. Was I too lazy with my passwords and my security? Did I answer a text message or call an 800 number that wasn't legitimate? I just really hate this world I live in sometimes. And all the people in it that are doing things like this. And I even judge myself for feeling that way. And I judge them for being such assholes. It steals so much time and really takes the wind out of my sails. And I don't want to have this proof in my brain that it can happen. I don't want to believe it can happen again. I don't want to live in a way where I'm thinking that the world is an awful place full of awful people, when I know how much love and support and genuine goodness there is here. But situations like these make me feel like people are shitty. And it makes me feel like I'm fucking stupid. And I hate it. I feel like such a victim. And that makes me feel powerless. I'm open to the idea that this isn't my fault. It just feels really crummy. It feels like a kid getting lured into a big van by a stranger with candy. It feels like being duped, like being tricked, like falling for a stupid joke and not being protected enough to do anything about it. And it makes me feel really lousy and ashamed and embarrassed. And even more than that, It reminds me of other times in my life when I've been made to feel that way. And that's what makes me feel really emotional. Just clearing some of the unnecessary emotional charge from all of these instances that have made me feel scammed and hacked, taken advantage of, and violated. Knowing that I can't do all of it with just one round of tapping, but just allowing some of that to be released right here, right now, as I witness it, processing in my body and flowing through. I'm open to the idea that this wasn't my fault. And I'm open to the idea that everything is going to be all right. Releasing the frustration, the feelings of stupidity, processing these feelings that I've been taken advantage of, manipulated. Letting go of my attachment to this thing that happened, that is no longer happening now. Calling my power back so that I don't feel like a victim to this situation. Taking control of the things that I have the ability to control. And stepping into the present moment with a little bit more ease, a little bit more self-acceptance, a little more confidence. Take a nice deep breath for me. Inhale and exhale. Revisit that feeling about being scammed, hacked, having your identity stolen, whatever the case may be. And write down your number again about how you feel now, what the intensity is when you think about it. I know that you may have credit card charges to get reversed. You may have 100 passwords to change. You may still have whatever issue it is that you thought was getting solved that instead wasn't getting solved at all. But when you think about that particular incident, I just want you to revisit kind of that energetic, emotional charge to it and see. My hope for you is that you have a little bit more perspective, a little bit more rationality around it, and a little bit more self-acceptance and forgiveness for whatever part you played in the situation. And then if, like me and so many others, this experience has tied in to other times when you felt violated, when you felt betrayed, when you felt taken advantage of, when you felt powerless or victimized, definitely reach out. It may be a good opportunity to hop on a quick call where we can kind of look at these challenges and I can offer you some insights for getting through them by going to gamechangingconversation.com. And I always welcome your comments below. I'd love to hear where you started, your number when you started, your number when you ended, or what feelings or things came into your consciousness as we tapped through that. That's such valuable information that really helps in everyone's healing and growth when we process something like this. You know, when I went through the experience that I had yesterday with being scammed, which I'm not going to go into detail about, I realized the connection that it had for me to a lot of past experiences that held the same feelings. And it was a beautiful opportunity for me to use emotional freedom techniques, for me to use integrative eye movement, for me to use self-hypnosis, all of which I used in the last 24 hours to process not just what happened yesterday, but things that happened years or decades or seemingly lifetimes ago that were related to those same feelings. That's the power of doing personal development, guys. So if you're seeing or feeling those connections, let's pull the thread. Let's go deeper with it and see what else can get cleared, healed, and elevated in your consciousness so that you can show up differently in your life and really call your power back. Thanks for tapping with me.